How's it going, everyone? Hope you're well. Mr. Boulder here, and I'm back tonight with a new video for you. And this is a thread response to Metal Mickey. He started the Blinkers thread about 4 or 5 days ago now. Basically, a thread where you're basically showing albums that from a certain subgenre, from a certain period. Some people will only accept that everything released at that time was amazing and nothing was bad. So I'm going to be showcasing some albums here that I don't think in the slightest are shit albums, but for me, the way I'm looking at this video is I'm sort of coming from it from the perspective of these albums for me have never ever lived up to the masterpiece or classic reputation that they have. Before I go any further, I'm going to echo something that Mike said in his video when he started the thread, and that's these threads and these videos, they're just a bit of fun, you know, they're not to be taken massively seriously, because I've been doing YouTube for about 3 years now. And still to this day, I'm absolutely astonished that some people, you know, grown adults, are completely incapable of understanding that you have an opinion different to theirs. When it comes to my YouTube channel, I've always been about being completely honest about my opinions. And exactly that, it's just my opinion. One example I always go back to is when I did my Iron Maiden album ranking video, I put Killers in last place. And there's a good reason for that. That's because I don't understand the love for Killers that a lot of people have. But it's just my opinion. You know, not at any point would I think to myself, you know, oh, I better put Killers high up the list because that's what people would expect to see. And I better put the Blaze Bayley albums at the bottom because that's what most people want to see. I'm not about bullshit. I'm about putting my honest opinion out there. And I'm not trying to offend or upset anyone. It's just my opinion, you know. But anyway, with all that out of the way, I'm going to get into 5 death metal albums that for me just do not live up to their classic and masterpiece reputations. The years that Mike suggested were 1991, 92, 93. I've actually got a couple here from 1989 that I'm going to show. And after the usual quick sip of coffee, we're going to get straight into it. Right, let's kick off with something from 1991 from Sweden. And here's Dismember and Like an Ever-Flowing Stream, the debut album from these Swedish death metalers. HM2 guitar tone driven, of course. The first song on this album is absolutely fantastic. Override of the Overture. It's got a riff, very, very catchy, hooky riff that runs throughout pretty much the entire song, which is incredibly catchy, easy to get into your head. It's definitely a hook. Song's nice and fast, great vocals, and that first song, opening track for me, is just absolutely fantastic. But after that, for me, the rest of this album, it's just okay. There's some other stuff in it which I do enjoy, like Soon to Be Dead, Dismembered, Sickening Art. But other than the first song on this album, for me, the rest of it's just average. Nothing really sticking out in the mind after it's played. I can listen to this album from start to finish, enjoy it, but apart from the first song, not at any other point am I thinking to myself, that's a really, really good guitar riff, that's an amazing song, that's really, really catchy. For me, this is just okay. Just doesn't live up to the masterpiece and classic reputation for me. You know, we're all different at the end of the day, and for me, this just isn't the classic that it's made out to be. A decent enough listen, but as far as I'm concerned, no classic at all. Number 2, 1991, going to have the Florida now, and here's Morbid Angel and Blessed Are the Sick. There are some absolutely amazing songs in this that I really enjoy. Fall from Grace is superb. Day of Suffering I really enjoy. The title track's really, really good. Thy Kingdom Come, Desolate Ways, which is played by the late Richard Brunel. But then half of this album, or more than half of this album for me, it's just okay. Nothing really sticking out in the memory. No real great hooks. Dave Vincent's voice is great. The musical performances from everyone are really good. But a lot of the songs for this for me are just average. And I can clearly remember someone once putting up a picture of this on a Facebook group that I belong to, Extreme Metal Vinyl, I think it is. And they put best death metal album ever recorded. I remember looking at it thinking, I can think of 10 death metal albums off the top of my head that are better than this. If you was to say to me that Covenant's a classic, I'd agree with that. Domination, I'd agree with that. I Was a Madness, I'd agree with that. Not this one though. Like I say, some good stuff, but very average in places for me. I actually prefer 1998's Formula's Felt to the Flesh, the first one with Steve Tucker on vocals, over this one. Yeah, Blessed of the Sick for me is one of those albums that just hasn't lived up to its classic reputation. A decent enough listen, but for me it's no classic. Back to 1989 and staying in Florida. And here we have Obituary, Slowly We Rot. I can understand definitely why this was a big deal at the time of release. The vocal performance from John Tardy on this, and to be honest, still to this day, is absolutely phenomenal. Very distinctive voice. You know when you listen to Obituary, no one sounds like John. The vocals are fantastic. The guitars sound amazing. If my memory's correct, the guitars were just normal Fender Stratocasters, obviously modified. And the standard tuning they're using on this is just unreal. You would never think this is in standard. The guitar sounds so heavy. The drums from Don Tardy are decent, no doubt about it. But for me, this song is really, this album is really lacking in sort of classic songs, to be honest. I mean, you've got stuff on this like Internal Bleeding, which is really good. Till Death, I really enjoy. Title track's great. Intoxicated. But a lot of other songs on this, for me, are just bang average. Nothing special about them at all. There's a couple of really nice breakdowns on this, which was breakdowns before breakdowns were really a thing. It's an okay album, but for me, it's just not the classic it's made out to be. I don't get from this album, not a lot of people do get. I mean, for me, the album that follows this up, Cause of Death from 1990, is so much better than this. When I think of that album, I can think of songs like Turned Inside Out, Chopped in Half, Dying, Body Bag, Infected. Loads and loads of classic songs. For me, this just hasn't got the classic songs. The songs are nowhere near as strong on this. And for me, just playing really, really heavy, having a really guttural sort of singer, doesn't make for a great death metal album. You have to have songs that stick out in the memory, catchy hooks. And for me, a bit Slowly We Rot just doesn't really have that. It's an okay listen, but yeah, the one that followed it is far superior as far as I'm concerned. Number 4 now, and here in the UK, going back to 1989, and this is Bolt Thrower's Realm of Chaos. Average is the word that springs to mind when I think about this album. The riffs are okay, but that's about as complimentary as I can be about them. Carl Williams' vocals are okay. For me, Andy Wales' drums are not great on this. Not terrible by any stretch of imagination, but as far as death metal drums go, he's not one of the best. I actually think some of the work he did on the first couple of Memoriam albums is far better than what he was doing here when he was younger. I do find the fills are quite repetitive. He does a fill on the snare drum that he does quite a lot on this, and not just on this album, as well, other albums as well. So musically, everything is just average. Carl Willis' vocals are average. You've got stuff on this like Through the Eyes of Terror that I really like. World Eater's good. Drowned in Torment, but some of the other songs are just so average. I listened to them, they passed me by, and nothing sticks out in the memory. And when I say people saying that this is an absolute classic, I just do not get it at all. For me, 1994's For Victory, 92's The Fourth Crusade, Mercenary from 98, Those Once Law from 2005. I understand why people say that those are fantastic albums, but when people say this is a classic, don't get it at all. Very, very average, and absolutely not a classic or a masterpiece. And the last album show today is from 1993, and here's Suffocation with Breeding the Spawn. I was always hugely disappointed by the production on this album. Compared to Effigy of the Forgotten, their debut from 1991, I think the production on that is excellent. It's done at Morrisound by Scott Burns, of course. The production on this is nowhere near as good, although I have warmed to it over the years. I don't listen to it now and think it sounds as bad as when I first heard it, but it's still not got the best production, but not as bad as I originally thought it was. The musical performances from everyone involved are absolutely stellar. Frank Mullen's vocals are, as always, really, really good. But for me, the songwriting is just not that strong on this. Beginning of Sorrow, first track's really good. Title track, Breeding the Spawn, is great. Prelude to Repulsion is a good song, but the rest of it, no hooks, nothing that really sticks out in the memory, and just a bit boring, to be honest. I don't find this album to be the best listen at all, it has to be said. They've done much better stuff after this, I think. So, of course, this come out in the heyday of death metal, and Breeding the Spawn for me is just not that great at all. Again, like with all these albums, I can listen to them all and don't have to turn them off because I think they're dreadful. But this one to me is just quite dull, lacking in hooks, and it's just nowhere near as good as the debut that came before it. Suffocation's Breeding the Spawn, definitely no classic as far as I'm concerned. Right, guys, that's it for today's video. Cheers for watching all the way till the end. As always, get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these picks. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people very surprised to see Slowly Rewriting here. And blessed are the sick. But like I said earlier, you know, we're all different. We all have different opinions. And it'd be a boring world if we all like the same thing. Cheers for watching till the end, as per usual. And thank you to all new subscribers. Picked up quite a few new subs recently. There'll be no new video from me next week because I'll be at Bloodstock Festival, so I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. So until then, as always, cheers, take care, and I'll see you soon.